Hi, welcome to We Why Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
Tonight we are discussing Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 14, Episode 13, the season finale.
Long awaited.
Long awaited is right.
Even though there were only 13 episodes, it felt like forever.
I know. So we start out with Jenn Fessler goes over to Margaret's house, and Marge shows Jenn Fessler what she did with the funeral arrangement thing that she sent over to Teresa's house.
So good.
That was so good.
Mm-hmm.
So then Margaret says, when someone does something absurd, you need to respond in an absurd way in response to, and I agree.
Totally agree.
They're having cronuts and banana pudding with red wine. So I guess this was breakfast time. That's what they're eating.
Yeah. Well, it was the same morning that Teresa, it was the same day, because when the show opened, they it said later that day.
Yeah.
So Delores basically went from Teresa's house to Margaret's house.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. Like, later that day of what? Okay. So,
yeah.
Okay. So but it was morning time, wasn't it? Or no?
I mean, it said later that day. So maybe they were at Teresa's at 9 a.m. and she got to Marge's by 11:30.
Yeah. Okay. So then Margaret says that Jackie's dead to her, and that she'll be dropping some bombs at the sit down.
The Last Supper.
Yeah, the Last Supper, exactly.
And Fessler's like, I don't want to know any of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like you said, Delores shows up because she's on her way to Margaret's house. And Delores tells Margaret that what Teresa was saying. Margaret says that she spoke to Vanessa via DMs 3 times. So when Delores gets there, she's like, Teresa was saying that you were speaking to Vanessa, to his ex. Like, why were you doing that? And she says, listen, I talked to her via text, DMs 3 times. That's it. And it wasn't until after
New York.
After New York.
The reunion.
After the reunion, exactly.
That's what she tells Delores.
Right.
While sitting on her couch.
Right.
Because it changes when they get to the sit down.
Yes, it does change when they get to the sit down.
But in my opinion, that's okay because there was a subpoena involved.
Right.
It's what Margaret did is okay. And we'll get there.
Yeah. So then Delores brings up the summit before the reunion. That's what they were calling it, the summit before the reunion. And Margaret says it wasn't a summit, it was a reunion prep.
Right. Which Delores, I'm sure, and we've heard other housewives say they do it on every franchise.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And Delores says, thanks for inviting me. Margaret said, I did invite you. And Delores calls her a liar. And she starts flipping out.
A lying C-word.
Yeah. Well, is that what the word was? It was bleeped out.
She called her a lying C-word. C-U-N-T. Yes.
Okay.
And so I watched it on Peacock, and there wasn't more content from what I could tell. If there were, and somebody out there knows it, please tell me, because I didn't catch it. But I just caught the F word over and over, and obviously I can curse over and over and over again. But yeah, she called her a lying C word. I would have told her to get the fuck out of my house.
I mean, I've never seen Delores get that upset about anything, and she went from 0 to 100.
And that's how you know she's lying. You ever catch your kid in a lie and see how he reacts? I know my kid's lying. As soon as he starts reacting like that, like a nut, yelling, screaming, cursing, I know you're lying. That's exactly what she did. She showed who she truly was.
Yeah. I mean, I was very surprised to see that because I did not expect that from her.
Her reaction was way out of line. It was unwarranted. She's lying because she's scared to death of Teresa and Louis. Delores is scared to death of Teresa and Louis. And we knew that last season when Frank Catania Sr. started talking about Frankie Jr. and not working with Louis anymore. You could see it in Dolores' eyes. She tries to play all godmother, like tough girl. She's not. She's scared to death of them.
Do you think that she's scared of them, or do you think you do? You really do?
I'm sorry. I cut you off.
No, that's all right. You think Bo Dietl dug up some dirt on Paulie that she doesn't want out?
Yeah, I think that just like what Melissa said later in the episode that one of his nieces said you should be afraid, I think that anybody who crosses this guy's path should be afraid, and nobody wants to get on his bad side.
That's
But
sad.
I mean, my God, we're from Jersey. Doesn't anybody in this friend group have somebody to take care of this guy?
I would think so.
On.
I mean, I would think so. I'm surprised that it calmed down. Like she did finally, calm down and, I don't know. That scene totally blew me away. I thought that was the most surprising scene of the whole finale, to be honest with you.
I totally agree with you. It was that reaction was so unwarranted.
Right.
Unless you just got caught in a lie and now you're on national television and now you look to one friend as if you were, involved in another friend's orchestration of something against her husband. And that's basically what she thinks. But I mean, listen, if Margaret asked you to come over and you said no, okay, you said no.
Right.
Just like Frank Catania Sr. did. And somebody put that online today. Like, come on, Delores. You knew exactly what was going on. Frank already said he was invited.
Right.
Frank Catania Sr. wouldn't be invited without Delores being invited. You did the right thing to be friends with both. You said no.
Right.
But don't lie. She's lying.
Yeah. I mean, even Margaret said, she's like, well, I said it in passing. Maybe I didn't say specifically, but you were definitely invited.
Right.
So they get over that. Then Delores says, okay, well, we should have one last sit down because she tells them about, the place burning down, which, by the way, I've heard it was only the garage that burned down.
It was, well, according to Danielle at Rachel's house, it was where Teresa and Jennifer were supposed to sleep.
The second guest house.
Yeah, Danielle
guest house.
The outhouse.
Yeah,
which with those two sleeping in it, it's full of shit at least.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Then Danielle and Melissa go to Rachel's house, and Rachel gives us an update about what happened with John when he got back from the anaphylactic shock that she made him. She wanted him to go to the hospital, but he wouldn't, so she made him go to the allergist, and they ran all these tests, and he's not allergic to anything.
Crazy.
I know. So they think maybe it was possibly a chip of the bone or something when they did the shot. I don't know.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, listen, I never order shrimp when I'm out to dinner because once in a while, doesn't happen all the time, I get an allergic reaction when I drink wine and eat shrimp. It doesn't happen all the time, but once in a while it does. So I don't ever eat shrimp out or shellfish in general. I just don't anymore because I don't want to get an allergic reaction like that.
Right.
So maybe it was just a one-time fluke thing.
Right. Maybe it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? What else happens next? So then they're talking about the house burning down and what Teresa did with Jim Leonard. Melissa said that everyone in Louie's life has reached out and warned them about Louie. Everybody. Mm-hmm. And then she tells a story about she ran into somebody.
The niece on his first wife's side.
Right.
And I wonder if that's the mother of his children because he has 2 ex-wives, I think.
I think it is the mother of his children. I think it is. Then Danielle thinks she's going to be able to reconcile with Jenn Aydin. I don't know why she thinks. I mean, I didn't think that she was going to be able to reconcile with Jenn Aydin.
I didn't either.
Melissa
just because of Jenn Aydin.
Yeah, exactly. She's just so petty.
Yeah.
And Melissa says she doesn't have anything to say. Like she doesn't have any last word to say to anybody.
No.
And
she said it all last reunion. She's good. Yeah. She's solid.
Yeah. Then Danielle's at home with her kids and Nate, and they're decorating the pumpkins. And Danielle
that was cute.
It was cute. Danielle and Nate are talking about, what has gone on with her dad, and they're talking in front of the kids, but they're talking in code because they don't want the kids to know what's going on. And she reaches out to him via text, which for her was a really big step, and I'm glad that she did it.
Yeah.
Nate says that he was invited to both parties, and he hasn't seen Bill since she called his wife the devil when they were at the Tulum party.
Yeah. He did say he would have gone to Louie's, though. If he would have gone to Louie's boys' night.
Yes, he did say that. if he wasn't working. He said he was working. And then as they're sitting there, then Danielle's dad does text back, which was good. He's sent her some, words of encouragement, and that he loved her. So I was glad to see that little bit of wrap up. I mean, I'm hoping by now she's actually got to see him.
Yeah.
And
I'm
talk
hoping
to him.
at the watch party, maybe somebody brings it up and asks, and she says whether or not they're speaking. And hopefully it's a yes.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because I really want to, I want to see them happy. I want to see, her get reconciled with her dad.
Especially because anything can happen at any time. We know that.
I know.
So
I know. Then we see Delores talking to Paulie about the sit down. She says she's going to have the people that have a beef against each other sitting across from each other so they can look each other in the eye.
So stupid.
I'm like, oh, I don't know if you really thought this through when you came up with that idea.
Exactly.
The next I have Louis asking Teresa what her strategy is with Margaret. Teresa says, I don't really have a strategy. I'm not a strategic person. Really?
Right.
Come on. And then Louis laughs and says, I know.
And then he says he wishes harm on Margaret and her effing son. On Peacock, he said, and her effing son. I wish harm on him too. Whatever he says.
He said, Louis says, I hope Margaret's family suffers. I hope her son suffers the way I suffer and the other people in our families have suffered. She's a disgusting, vile human being. She is a piece of garbage. If she doesn't apologize to you, then she's not worth sitting in front of you. I wrote it down word for word.
Gabriella was on, I think she was on Behind the Velvet Rope, and she talked about this scene, and she said that Teresa called her after that scene that night and was panicking and was asking producers to cut it, and they didn't. She didn't know if they were going to. She wanted them to, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They're not going to cut that.
No.
He's a fucking lunatic. You're married to a lunatic. I mean, I can't even believe they let this guy film. He's such a liability, but
I know. It was
Bravo made their bed.
To say that after he's already threatened her son is just crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, I don't know. And then Louis says Rachel is like her husband. She's a bottom feeder. And he also says your sister-in-law is not worth anything. He doesn't ever call her Melissa, just like she doesn't ever name her. They always refer to her as the sister-in-law.
Yeah. And my brother. My
brother, yep. Margaret says, I have a few final things to say to Teresa, but I'm going to say to Jackie Judas Goldschneider, if you have one opportunity to tell Teresa what you've been doing behind her back. I don't think she actually got a chance to do that, but she did put it out there.
Yeah, she dropped the bomb at least.
Yeah. And then we see Joe talking to Melissa, and he's wearing his dad's watch. And then we flash back to a bunch of scenes with his dad. I really like those scenes. Those were touching.
Yeah. I heard a clip of Teresa on Kelly Ripa's podcast, and she said that her father never watched the show because she knew that Joey and Melissa came on to hurt her. He knew that Joey and Melissa came on to hurt her, so her father would never watch the show.
Oh, okay. Please. Come on.
She's such a loser.
Then Melissa tells Joe what happened at Teresa's house from Danielle. She got the information from Danielle, so she lets Joe know. Melissa then says to Joe, are you happy now? Which, I think that was telling, and he's like, yeah, I am. He's done at this point everything he can do.
It is interesting, though, his response. I wish her no harm. She's my sister.
Right.
I want her to be happy. What a difference compared to what her and Louis say about them.
Yeah.
What a difference.
Yeah, it's true. And
he's just truly a nice guy.
Yeah. And honestly, I think this is my opinion, but I think that when this shit finally does hit the fan and, Louis does get indicted or go away.
Whatever's coming to him.
Right. I think Teresa will finally wake up and Joe will be there for her.
I do. I agree with you. And
so will Melissa.
I think that's going to be very hard on their marriage. But I think they'll be fine. But I think Teresa will fuck it up again. Maybe not if they're not on TV. If they're still on TV, she's going to fuck that up again. But I do think that she is eventually going to see the light with Louis. I think she's going to play victim again because she's so good at it, and I think her brother's going to be there for her.
I definitely think Joe will be. I mean, he says it. He told his dad that he would be there for Teresa. He would watch out for her, and he's tried to. She's the one who pushed him away. It wasn't the other way around.
Right.
Oh,
absolutely.
She stands on the platform that he didn't go to her wedding. Well, I mean, he really wasn't welcome at the wedding after everything that had happened and the whole, before the wedding incident.
Right.
Why? Right. There was no way that he could have went to that wedding and not ruined it.
No. And why would there was no reason for them to be at that wedding. That wedding was a circus.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, I didn't even watch it, and I won't. If I see my DVR taping that, I cancel the recording.
You're so funny.
Hardcore against that wedding. That circus.
Melissa says it's okay to finally say it's over. And I agree with that. Like, you have to just say enough is enough. Delores is the first one to arrive at Rails, and they're having their last supper upstairs. I did like the way that all the ladies were picking out their outfits for their last supper.
It was very reminiscent. I don't know if you watched Mob Wives, but it was very
absolutely
that last, sit down with all of them.
Yes,
when they all rolled up. They were rolling up to a warehouse, the back of a warehouse, and being escorted in. But so a little different, but it was reminiscent of that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Delores says that she wants everyone to be heard, and Teresa is the last one to arrive. And Teresa gets there, and she has her sitting across from Margaret. And the first thing Teresa says is, "I don't want to sit across from her or that." I don't know if she said her or that. I was like, well, so much for that idea.
Right. She is so scarily thin, Teresa, because I was watching Danielle.
She is.
And we met Danielle in person, and we know she's tiny. She and Melissa were tiny. But on camera, she looks a little like curvy, not
right.
I hope I'm stating this right, where it would be no offense to Danielle because she's beautiful. And I'm not saying she looked heavy. She just looks curvier than she looks in person. We just saw her last week. Teresa on camera looks like a post.
She does. She's too thin.
There's nothing to her.
No, she doesn't look
good.
There is
nothing to her.
And I'm sure it is stress. I think it is stress. I mean, somebody said Ozempic, but it's not Ozempic. I think it's stress.
I'm sure she's on Ozempic. She's got Ozempic face.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think it's Ozempic. She was thin to be. She was never heavy.
I do think stress has something to do with it, but she's definitely on Ozempic, judging by her face.
No, I don't think so.
She looks like a skeleton, her face.
I don't think it's Ozempic. I really don't. I think it's stress. I think it's
a combination of both, but she's got Ozempic. If she is not on Ozempic, she better figure something out because her face looks like she's on Ozempic. She looks like a skeleton. She's gaunt.
Yeah, I mean, except for her hot dog lips.
Exactly. But I think that's why her lips look so big. Because the rest of her is so sunken in. Better figure that out, man.
So they're all sitting down, and Delores says to Danielle, her and Jenn Aydin can go first. And so Danielle says, when you question somebody like me, look at yourself first. For the charity event, my husband and I gave $2,500 to get it to the $25,000. She's like, you were slandering me. You're slandering me. Jenn says, I know you hustle everything for free because you can't afford it. I get it. I mean, come on. Really?
Bitch.
Bitch. You really had to go there?
Right.
Danielle says to Jenn, you completely disappointed me as a friend. I feel so sorry for you. Jenn Aydin says, you want my life. And that, honestly, I think in her delusional mind, she thinks that.
I think she thinks we all want her life.
Yes, I do too.
I really think she thinks we all want her life.
I do too. I really do.
What a materialistic bitch. I don't want a husband that cheats on me. I'd rather have a husband like Nate.
Right. And then Danielle.
Or the one I have.
Yeah.
For the record.
Yeah. That one will work too.
Yeah, he works too. Eric works too. Yeah.
Danielle says to Jenn, I don't want anything you have. You have 18 bathrooms, but your house is empty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true.
Absolutely.
Danielle says to Jenn, I know you're sad, and I know you cry alone at home because you couldn't touch what I have with a 10-foot pole. And she's referring to her relationship.
Absolutely. And she
And
should.
yeah. And then Danielle says, I know when I get home, my husband's waiting for me to walk in the door. Jenn says, oh yeah, your husband with his man boobs. And you, what did she say? He has the boobs and you have the bra?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he has the boobs and you have the bra.
Meanwhile, did you see on TikTok today that Lindsay, the housewife historian, posted a video of Bill Aydin at his plastic surgery office talking about his surgery?
I didn't see that, but I did hear about it. That
he had the same surgery.
Yes.
I mean, Jennifer, she can't be any more of an asshole if she tried.
I know.
I didn't see, did Danielle throw something at her? Because I don't remember seeing her throw something at her.
Well, that's what everyone says is they cut it out.
Oh, that's what they're saying was cut out.
They cut it out. They cut out. She picked up a plastic pitcher of water, and supposedly it had condensation on it, and it slipped out of her hand, and it landed on the table in front of Jenn, and it knocked all the stuff that was on the table in front of her on her.
Onto Jenn.
Oh,
so just like what Teresa did in Nashville to Margaret?
Yeah.
The same thing. The same thing.
So, but they cut that portion of it out. Like we didn't see that. And I got that.
You do see a skip in the video.
Yeah.
You do see like a bloop.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to watch it on Peacock. It wasn't any different on Peacock.
I don't think so. Now that you're saying it, I don't think so, but I might have to rewatch it too.
Yeah. So then Danielle leaves the room with Delores and Rachel. And meanwhile, Jenn is in the other room still sitting there going on about man boobs. She's still talking about it. And Danielle was really upset. I mean, she was crying. She was upset because, listen, she was worried about her husband. You had to go mention her husband's name. Like, come on.
He didn't sign up for that. You know what I mean? And I know we always say, like, you know, like, I just think like the husbands and the kids, like stuff like that, you know, a normal person wouldn't bring that up.
Right. Exactly.
A kind person wouldn't bring that up.
Right. And well, there's nothing kind. I mean, Jenn is evil.
Absolutely.
She's the devil. Like Danielle, she's the devil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then Jenn Fessler leaves. She's like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this anymore. So she like gets up and leaves. I don't blame her. Honestly, I don't blame her.
Although
she was hosting it.
She was hosting it, and I hope she doesn't think she's being if she's asked back after leaving. I mean, let's see who really is asked back, but I think that kind of like, if you can't handle that, Fessler, you should not be here.
I don't know. I don't think it should have gotten to that. It should have
gotten to that. No, but it does. It's Jersey. It always gets to that. But normally it's Teresa doing it, and she just gets away with it and gets away with it and gets away with it. So when somebody else does it, why is it such a big fucking deal that somebody else did it? Teresa's been doing this since the first season.
Yeah.
She's been behaving this way.
No, she definitely has. She definitely has.
Uh-huh. I mean, the second reunion, she pushed Andy down. Come on.
The first reunion, the first season, she flipped the table.
Right. Then she pushed Andy down.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And then meanwhile, they're all like yelling back and forth at each other too at this point.
Oh, yeah. Teresa and Melissa start going at it.
Yeah. And Melissa says she learned from the best of them.
White trash.
White trash, right. She called her white trash. And then Teresa keeps calling her a whore.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Really?
That's when you know Teresa's too stupid to hold any kind of conversation at this point. She just starts repeating herself. Like, so she did it there. Whore, whore, whore. My brother married a whore, whore, whore. And then later on, she does it with Margaret, where she's like, liar, liar, liar. It's like, you're just too stupid to carry on a conversation. So you just keep repeating yourself over and over again.
Yeah, it's true. It's true that she does that. So then Delores goes over to Jenn and asks if she's okay if Danielle comes back to the table and sits down.
I know. I hate that she even gave her that much control over the situation.
I know. Jenn says, yes, she's welcome, but she's not sitting across from her anymore. She's down the other end because now there's an open spot since Jenn Fessler left.
Right.
The next is, I guess, March of 2022. What do I have next? March of 2022, after you spoke to Laura. Okay, so the next.
So this is when Margaret.
Yeah. Margaret starts with Teresa telling her what happened. March of 2022, after you spoke to Laura, I spoke to the ex. I got subpoenaed. Jackie is saying that going to Margaret's before the reunion was a takedown of Louis. That's what Jackie's sitting there saying when like, no, that's not what it was. It was the reunion prep, and that's just because Jackie decided that she's going to jump sides because that's what Jim Leonard told her to do. If you want a spot on this show, this is what you're going to have to do.
Right.
Hold on. My next notes don't make sense. The next I have Rachel and Teresa are yelling about keep my husband's name out of your mouth.
Well,
so how did that come up next?
Because when Margaret was trying to explain her timeline, Teresa keeps yelling that she's the one who, kept dropping, putting stuff out into the media, just like you told Rachel and John that Louis investigated them. And Rachel was like, wait, what are you talking about? And Rachel said it was a family friend who doesn't even know Margaret, and maybe your husband is not that forthcoming with you. And then Teresa gets nasty with her. Well, your husband's not forthcoming about his past. And listen, I don't even know why. Listen, I'm glad Rachel reacted the way she did, but I don't even know why she did. She's already said the stuff about the past. Nobody even cares. He sold weed, and then the other thing. Okay, we're good. We're all,
I don't know if there was more into that we didn't get to see, because then that's when she kind of threw at her about the
hot dog lips.
Hot dog lips, yeah.
Yeah, which was great. And then Rachel's like, "You're obsessed. You're obsessed."
Yeah,
which was amazing.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Because she kind of is.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's obsessed with anybody who's happily married, whose husband legitimately makes a good living and provides a lifestyle for them. Like, Nate and Danielle, Joe and Melissa, John Margaret and Rachel, Margaret and Joe. Like you can call Joe Benigno the plumber all day long. They live a nice lifestyle. Whoever's the breadwinner is the breadwinner. Who gives a shit?
Right.
They got a nice lifestyle and they truly love each other. It's two things you don't have. You have a borrowed lifestyle until it blows up, which hopefully will be soon.
Yeah, it's true. Then Margaret says, let me say something and see if this makes sense. After the Warrior video came out in 2021, Jackie had them at her house.
I think she implied that Jackie had her at her house prior to the Warrior video coming out.
She did.
As if Jackie
got
her hands on the video at that meeting.
Yes.
That's how I saw it.
And what I've been hearing, the word is Jackie had both Vanessas at her house, because that Warrior video was from the other Vanessa.
Yes.
The other Vanessa.
But I think that I didn't hear that. I knew that it was about the other Vanessa, but I thought that this Vanessa, the lawsuit Vanessa, had it in her hands for some reason. And Jackie did get it from her. But who knows?
I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not, I've heard that Jackie had both Vanessas at her house. And then Jackie keeps, denying it. And Delores says, listen, if it's true, you better admit to it, because I'm sure she has proof.
Yeah, Melissa said it too.
And you could see Jackie's face. She's like, all right, I did.
I met with her.
It was at my house. It was before we were friends, and you came after my husband. That's why I did it.
And did you hear what she said? She goes, and I don't know if I heard that. Maybe I heard this on Peacock. She goes, and I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to fuck this up. That's what Jackie said to Teresa.
Oh, I didn't know. No, I didn't hear that. Then Margaret says, everything that came out was from Jackie. Jackie let it all fall on me, because that's what she was saying.
Yeah.
That Warrior video.
You subpoenaed the wrong bitch. Like, really.
Right. That's exactly what she said. You subpoenaed the wrong bitch. Exactly.
Yeah. And here's my thing with Jackie. If your husband wasn't cheating, why like, because they flash back to the scene of them sitting on the couch at Margaret's house before she makes the analogy about G, and she's like, "I need you to say this wasn't true." Why? Why do you need Teresa Giudice to say that your husband wasn't cheating on you and it was a lie? If he's not cheating on you, why are you reacting this way? I think where there's smoke, there is fire in this situation. And I think, he's got a big time job. Maybe this really was going to affect his job,
Well, maybe
I
it
don't
was going to affect his job. I mean, I don't know if it means that he was cheating.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I definitely think it could affect his job for sure.
Yeah.
Like his reputation as,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He might want to get his wife off reality TV because it's not a good look for her.
Well, I would be surprised if they kept her on. I don't think he'll have to do anything. I think she's kind of done that herself at this point, right?
And again, Danielle's response to Margaret saying that it was Jackie all along was great. She was like,
those faces, everyone's face at the table. You're just looking at them like,
yeah. Melissa's like, you didn't tell me that, which was perfect, which was good that none of them went in there knowing that.
Right. Margaret kept it all to herself.
I think Fessler did know. I think where Fessler was saying to Margaret, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's because she already knew. So they didn't show Margaret telling her on camera. I think Fessler knew already.
And maybe that's why she left, because she knew what was still to come, because that didn't even happen yet. She's like, oh, shit, I'm out of here.
She's like, if a picture's already been thrown and this hasn't even come out yet, I'm out. I'm out. Did you notice that Tess was watching it with me. Margaret's like, I swear on my kids. I said to Tess, you count how many times these people swear on their kids. These New Jersey women swear on their kids all the time.
I know.
And I don't care if you're lying or not. Don't swear on your kids, man.
Right. Exactly. Don't swear. Like, listen, don't do that.
Don't swear on anybody's life.
Yeah. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. I don't like that. I don't like when they do that.
No. And they all do it over and over.
So then Margaret says to Jackie, you're a snake and you are a lawyer. Delores says to Teresa, Jackie just admitted something to you. Are you okay with this? And it's true. It's like Teresa's just sitting there and she's like, yeah. She says, yes. Melissa says, and you can't get over the sprinkle cookies, but you're okay with this?
Right.
I was like, that's so funny. It's true.
Right.
It's so true.
She's so stupid. She doesn't know how to respond. So she just automatically says, yeah, I'm okay with it. Just to not acknowledge the fact that Margaret was not guilty.
No, she still wants Margaret to be guilty.
Yep. And she just proved that she wasn't.
I don't know. It's like nothing she's going to do, Margaret's going to do, is going to make Teresa change her mind. Like,
no, it's just like Melissa. But Melissa was so funny when she was talking to Jenn across the table. She's like, you heard that, right? Like, you heard that she's not bothered by this. And Jenn's like, yeah. And Melissa's like, and that's wrong. And Jenn's like, yeah. She's like, all right, I'm just checking in to make sure you're still a normal person down there.
And also Jenn is like, I think maybe she's going to have a delayed reaction. Like it didn't sink in yet. And I'm like, well, something didn't
Melissa's
sink
like,
in.
Oh yeah. She's going to have a delayed reaction. She's going to have a delayed reaction. But Margaret was 100% vindicated. And bravo, absolutely. If you don't fire Teresa over making this season a shit show, shame on you. She has single-handedly ruined this show. Well, her and Jenn Aydin and Louis and Jim Leonard. But she has ruined this show. She's trying to bury Margaret for something she didn't do. She just proved she didn't do it.
Meanwhile, I mean, how many seasons ago was it when she told Danielle Staub to pull Margaret's hair?
Yeah, that was before Louis came in the picture, I think. That was, yeah, she wasn't with Louis yet.
I know, but
I think that was season 11. Because that was the last season that her, Joe, and Melissa were really on good terms. And I think at that, no, it was the season before that. I think it was season 11, but I'm not positive.
But even when that happened and it came out that Teresa was the one that told Danielle, Teresa's like, well, we can't air this. She tried to cover that up too on camera. Like, they showed that. And
Yeah.
Melissa's like, they're going to air it. What are you talking about?
Right. I don't understand why I just don't, it's just rewarding bad behavior. And that doesn't work at any job in
No,
any capacity.
it doesn't. It really doesn't. It
Yeah.
doesn't. And then at the end, I guess we see Delores still sitting there and everyone is left.
You see Teresa walking out with her flower arrangement, right?
I did see that. I did
That
like
bitch
those flowers.
never leaves empty-handed.
No, she
Never
doesn't. She
leaves
took
empty-handed.
her gift bag thing and her flowers. And then I saw that Margaret was talking to Melissa and Rachel, and Jackie was coming down. And all of a sudden, Margaret's like, here comes Jackie. She won't turn. And she didn't. She didn't turn the corner.
Nope. She went and hid. And Delores is like, she needs a diaper right now. She's shitting her pants. And she was. She was. Oh my gosh. But somebody did put online, like, Teresa must not be bothered. They're still taking pictures with each other. I mean, her and Louie and Evan and Jackie were just out to dinner together. So she's still keeping up the front. She's still trying to bury Margaret. I think she's just trying to get her off the show. But it's like, in your quest to get her off the show, you have now almost eliminated everybody from the show. But I do think that Teresa thinks that she's safe. I think that Teresa thinks that there's no way they're going to get rid of her.
Guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Then Delores at the end says she looks at this sit down as a death. And I mean, honestly, I think that after we saw that, there was no need for a reunion. What would they,
No, I totally agree. I was very sad at the end of this episode. Like, I was really sad because I don't think we're ever, I don't know. I don't know who's going to come back, who's not going to come back, or what they're going to do. And that makes me sad because other than Teresa and Jennifer and Jackie, I'd like to see them all come back.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. I don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, they announced that they weren't doing anything until 2025, but it's like, yeah, obviously we're in August and 2025 is 4 months away. So
yeah.
Obviously you're not doing it. Like, please take 4 months to think it over. They would do that anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Then we go to Watch What Happens Live, and Delores is on Watch What Happens Live with Danny Pellegrino.
First question came from cousin Gina in Egg Harbor City. Egg Harbor Township.
I love that.
It was cousin Gina.
And what was the question?
Why does Delores still ride, or something about Delores riding the fence?
Right. And what she said was, her response was basically, I don't ride the fence. Anything I say, riding the fence would be that I was saying things behind people's backs. I don't agree with everything that they do, but I say it to their face when they...
She doesn't call Teresa out the way she calls Margaret out, though. She's full of shit.
She says she gets a lot of shit for it off camera.
She doesn't tell Teresa what she needs to tell Teresa as a friend. She is a Teresa soldier.
Yeah.
She's a good friend. She's a friend to Margaret. I don't know how good of a friend. After this episode, my feelings on Delores, quite honestly, have completely changed.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a friend to Margaret, and she'll obviously tell Margaret how she feels. She called her the C word. But she does not tell Teresa what Teresa needs to hear. And that's not being a good friend. That's being a soldier.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. They also had behind the bar Andrea Lopez, the comedian. Oh my God, she is the best Teresa impersonator I've ever heard.
Yeah, as much as I can't stand Teresa, I don't need two of them, but she did a really good impression.
I think she should open up for the husbands in Atlantic City.
She should.
How good would that be? Joe Gorga, I think you guys should see if you can get Andrea Lopez to open up for you in AC on August 17th, because that would
Andy's
be so...
idea. Get her on SNL.
Oh yeah, definitely on SNL.
Yeah.
She's so good.
Yeah.
She was
really
so good.
Nails it.
Like, if I closed my eyes, I would think it was Teresa.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Andy does say to Delores, I've never seen you get so mad as when you were flipping out at Margaret. And she says, I don't play both sides of the fence. I try to keep the peace.
Yeah, but you were lying. You were so clearly lying. And that fucking Danny Pellegrino saying at the end when Andy's like, well, who would you like to see back? And he's like, he says, of course, Delores and Jenn Fessler, which no thanks. But he's like, and I do like watching Teresa. It's like, come on, people. You like to watching Teresa what? Do what? Try to take down people? Like, what do you like watching about her?
Yeah. I mean, the Teresa soldiers like Teresa. The tree stumps, it doesn't matter what she does.
It's amazing to me.
It is amazing. It is. It's amazing to me too.
She's a bad person. She's a bad sister. Terrible sister. Like, she's just a bad person, and she's married to a scumbag. I don't want to watch them. I'm going to have a really hard time, if they get rid of Melissa and keep Teresa.
We're going to just have to wait and see what happens.
All right. I'm just saying, I don't know if I can watch it. I don't know if I can do this with Jersey again, but we'll see. Nobody's making any decisions right now.
No, because they're not making any decisions, so we can't make any.
So I'm not going to make any decisions.
Okay. So then Andy asks Andy asks Delores to say one word about each of her castmates.
Yeah.
So for Margaret, she says friend. For Jenn Aydin, she says funny. For Danielle, she says sweet girl. For Melissa, she says fun, and she's the best ass grabber.
That's great.
Rachel, she says she's an amazing mom.
No.
For Teresa, she says resilient. Jenn Fessler, she says funny and self-deprecating. Jackie, she says amazing writer and smart. I'm like, oh, God.
Right. What'd she say about Danielle?
Danielle's sweet girl.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Sweet girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, if you can't even get up there and say that Jackie is a, flip flopper or what, like, come on.
I know.
Like, Stop.
I know. I agree. Like, enough already. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. In other Bravo news, I don't know if we mentioned this, but we saw last week Jax checked himself into a rehab.
Yeah.
Mental health rehab.
Yeah, I think it was like a mental health facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are filming The Valley currently. Are still filming.
That's why I was kind of surprised that he did it at this point, but
I guess it's going to be part of the storyline. I guess we're going to see it play out.
Yeah. They're not going to let cameras into a place like that, though.
Well, no, but we're going to see maybe what led for him to go into it.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
And because I've heard people commenting about, I did check it out though. Brittany's just living her life as if nothing is going on. Like, she's doing her parties at Jack's still, and she's like not making any mention of it, which, you know what?
She should, though.
Yeah.
This is what she should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree. I mean, I agree. She has been very good to Jax for many, many years.
And codependent.
Yes. So this is her time to shine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? She needs to take care of their son and live her best life right now.
Right. She's a good mom. She's not going to, she's definitely going to prioritize her son
100%.
over anything. But go out and have fun. You've been with a narcissist for how long now? Like, go do your thing.
Yeah.
Because what it comes down to is if he really wants to change and be a better person, he's got to do that for himself anyway, not for her. So her sitting home waiting for him isn't going to help either one of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think that was it.
No.
Anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I guess until we do the OC will be our next episode.
And then Gypsy Rose. We're delving into the whole Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Yeah. I'm going to go watch. I think I'm on episode 6 of the Lifetime thing.
Okay.
So I should only have 2 more episodes left, right? There's 8.
Is that the Life After Lockup one?
Yeah.
Because then there's another Lifetime one that is behind, like while she's still in jail.
Oh.
And that one's got some information too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my job is not almost done.
It is not almost done.
Jeez Louise. All right.
All right. Until next time, thank you for watching and listening to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly. Bye.
Bye.